What's up, guys? It's IAmZiyah, and I'm back to you with another video. Ayy. Now this one is kind of going to get back to the basics, but not really. As many of you have heard before, the eyes are the window to the soul. The eyes tell a story. The eyes can really bring out that extra oomph in an image. Well, today what I'm going to be really showing you by the title of the video is how to really enhance the eyes to make it look natural but still pop, you know? Now, a little disclaimer. These are not absolute techniques. They may need a little tweaking here or there just depending on how you shot your image. You know, art isn't an exact science. It never has been, it never will be. Now, what I'm going to show you today is going to be super effective when dealing with fashion or glamour or something like that, where the model has to look pretty much directly into the lens. Now, if you're going for more of a film look, something a little bit more candid or lifestyle, this really isn't that necessary. But specifically, if you're doing fashion or glamour or something like that, again, where the model has to look into the camera to really speak to the audience, that's where these come in handy. But before we really get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I'm gonna need y'all to do me a favor. You feel me? I'm gonna need you to like, subscribe, and comment on this video after you watched it. Let me know what you think, alright? But yeah, let's get into this video, shall we? Now I'm gonna show you this technique in a couple of different ways using two different images. One technique with brighter eyes, and then the technique that will be working more for darker eyes. Now, these techniques are not limited to specific eye colors. No. They are interchangeable, but the reason why I'm using two different eye colors is simply because results can vary depending on the eye color. Now, I'm gonna start with the quickest one, which is the dodge and burn. Now, first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this group. Go ahead and merge that so we have ourselves a solid layer here. Now, the dodge and burn technique is extremely simple. It's literally dodging and burning. If you looked at my video on actual dodging and burning, you can kind of apply that same technique here, but I'm just gonna go over specifically how I do it for eyes. Okay, so I've already created my duplicate layer. Remember to always create a duplicate layer anytime you're deciding to do a new editing sequence or whatever you call them, simply because you don't want to do destructive editing. It's a pain to always have to undo. This way it preserves your original layers, so that way it's much easier to go back and make changes. So I'm gonna come over here to my little dodge tool, this little magnifying glass thingy. I'm gonna hit Alt and right click, and I'm gonna, expand it out. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure my exposure here is down at 10%. You just drag it, or if you have one, if your buttons are mapped, they should go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw this in. As you can see, it's getting lighter. Those highlights are really starting to pop here. I'm gonna go ahead and make this smaller. Because what I wanna do is I wanna get in these colors and really bring these colors out. Like so. Go and get these highlights as well. And as you zoom out, see you got a nice little pop in the eye there. And then you just repeat the step on the other side. I see this does look a little unrealistic. A little, looks pretty unrealistic. I'm just gonna drop my opacity down. About 60% should work. There, that looks a lot more natural. Now, one thing we do have to take into consideration is shadows. So what we're gonna do is, since we still have our original brightness of the eyes, we're gonna just create a layer mask. And since our exposure is already at 10, let's see, nope, it does change. So we're gonna go ahead and hit our brush tool, and our opacity is at 100, so we're just gonna bring that down to 10. And right where there's normally the shadows, see here, yeah, it's a little bit darker over here. We're just gonna go ahead and tap, kind of bring that back down a little bit, like so. Yes, perfect. I'm gonna do the same over here. Good. Bring that up here too. And bam. There we go. That's method one. I'm gonna repeat this step on this picture as well. Go ahead and make my brush smaller. Actually, go ahead and go to my dodge tool. And go ahead and start brightening up her eyes. Boom. And there we have it. And see, we really don't have to go in and make those other minor adjustments because her eyes are already dark. And it's absorbing a lot more light than our other model's eyes. So the shadows are kind of already naturally there. They weren't brought up when we did our dodging motions. So there we have it. That one's ready to go. Before and after. Our catch lights are highlighted. We have the nice brown color in her eyes. And then that's it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and hide our new layers on these pictures. Like so. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and create a new layer from our group. And I'm gonna show you method number 2. Now this one isn't as expedient as the first method. The first method for dodging and burning, it's really just if you need to get the picture done quick. It's kind of going on social media. It's not being printed or anything like that. It's not being blown up. And you just need it done super quick. That's what that method is for. It's very effective at pretty much getting it done quick, fast, and in a hurry. This one is designed to be a little bit more detailed. So that way, if you're having it printed, if you're having it blown up or whatever, it won't look like you just rushed through it. Okay, so let's get started. What we're first gonna do is we have our new layer to work on. So since we already have our new base layer, we're gonna come down here to this little split circle thingy, click that, and we're going to get our curves adjustment layer. Now here, we're gonna bring this all the way up. And I already know some people are saying, ew, oh my God, that's horrible. Trust me. We're gonna take this little piece down here at the bottom, this little square, and we're gonna drag that over. Just so we have some blacks in there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna invert this layer using Control I. Here. And we're going to take our brush. Now our brush is still already at 10%, which is good. That's exactly where we need it. So I'm going to make my brush smaller. And first thing I'm going to do is the yellow in her eyes right here. This yellowish gold orangish color. I'm going to start painting along this here. I'm going to focus on here and focus really on bringing this out. And then I'm gonna come on the outside and really start to get these highlights in her eyes. Gotta get these dark parts so it blends a little bit better. And as I come out, You see the difference. Before, after, before, and after. Now these little dark spots, I kind of want to bring these up just a little bit. Boom, there we go. So they match a little bit better. Going it down in here. So next we're actually going to focus on these catch lights in her eyes here. As you can see, there's a softbox about 45 degrees coming, about 45 degrees above her head to the right, which will be to the photographer's right, our right, her left. And we also have a reflector down here below her chin. So what we're going to do is we're going to create ourselves a new layer. And we're actually going to bring our opacity up, since we're already on our brush, bring our opacity up to 100. And we're just going to paint over it very roughly. Like so. Now, normally you'd be like, oh, this looks absolutely horrible, right? I mean, look at it. It looks disgusting. But what we're going to do is, if you ever watched my video on how to create metallic skin, we're basically going to use that same technique with the blend diffs. So we're going to double click our layer here. And voila, we have our blend diffs. Now, sometimes what people will do is they'll do this, and you don't want to do that. See, you just get rid of all of it. So we're actually going to hold down our Alt key and drag this all the way over. Like so. Some people do it here, but I like to bring it about right here because it really makes those catch lights pop. And then we're going to layer mask it. Come in. I'm going to switch it from white to black by using our X key. And just mask that out. Now, if your hotkey isn't set to switch your foreground and background colors by using the X key, you can always hit this little corner arrow icon here and it swaps it for you. Let's go ahead and zoom out. I'll see that's a little too much there. It's a little too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring my opacity down. That should do it. Still a little much on that bottom one. So I'm gonna drop my opacity to 10 on our main layer, on our main adjustment layer here. Not adjustment layer, on our main paint layer. Get a little softness. I'm gonna kind of paint that mask in a little bit more. So I'll bring that back up to 100. There we go. You know what, personally, I don't want this bottom one that bright, so I'm just gonna get rid of that one altogether. There. So that way we only pop the top one. That's better. It's much better. Now all that's left is we need to pop the highlights in her eyes just a little bit more. So we're gonna make another curves adjustment layer. Let's see, where is it? There you have it, curves. We're gonna do the same thing we did before. Bring it up. And over. We get our color. There we go. Invert. And now that we're on our paintbrush, we're going to drop our opacity to 10 and start to paint this in. And a couple more. There we have it. Now, also what you can do is you can actually break this down. And you can actually use your curves adjustment to adjust the colors in the eye as well. See? So say I want her eye to have a little bit more, see, orange. Bring that up there. Like so. And this will allow you to really have some fun with the eyes. So you can add a little bit more green, more magenta, however you want to do it. Now, I'm gonna leave it here for now. So say you want to copy this eye over, right? There's two ways that you can do this. Either you can redo all this on this eye, or you could turn all this into a group by highlighting everything, hit Control G or Command G, duplicate it using Control J or Command J. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and drop this down, Shift, select. We're gonna lock all these layers together. We'll link them together. So that way they move in unison. And we're just gonna drag this over here, like so. Then we use our arrow keys to kind of nudge it in place. Now, here's what's different, okay? The catch lights are in a different place. The position of the eye relative to the light source is different in each eye. So this is something to take note. Now, how do we fix this? Simple. Our blend diff is already set. So all we have to do is come in here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint this white, right? Because we need to see what we're doing. We'll paint it white. Paint over this white. Drop our brush down, come into our main paint layer, go ahead and paint over this, like so. And then we're gonna go back into our layer mask, hit X, so we can switch our colors, and then just paint that out. Like so. And there we have it. We really popped out her eyes. Now, if this is a little too much for you, I get it. Not everybody likes this style. We can go ahead and group these two together. So now we have both of our eyes grouped. And you can just drop that opacity. Like so. You still get your eye pop. It feels a little bit more natural. And now you have a photo that's ready for print. Now let's go over to our second picture. How do we do this? The eyes obviously aren't as detailed, right? So what we can do, go ahead and create our new layer, just like we did before. Now we're going to use the same technique, but not as much. So we're going to go ahead and do our curves. And as you can see, unlike our other model, she doesn't have as much detail in her eyes, but she still has some highlights, quite a bit of highlights. So we want to make sure we get that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and invert this layer. We're gonna do the same thing with our brush. Paint all this in. And voila. See, it didn't even require as much. But we're still gonna go ahead and knock out these catch lights too. And there we have it. Some nice, detailed, poppy eyes for your model. And just like before, if you want, you can go ahead and create your curves adjustment layer if you want to add that little bit of extra detail. And you can also go in and adjust that eye color if you want to play with it. Whoop, too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this mask up here. And just keep in mind, I did this by pressing down my Alt key and dragging our layer mask up to the new curves layer, and then you get this saying replace mask. Now what I'm gonna do is I'll go back here, and I should be able to, as you can see, change the eye color. And this is something you can always play with later. If you ever want to have a model and change her eye color, change his eye color, however you want to do it. Like, see, she has on purple, so I can give it more of a magenta hue. All right. Ending. Well, that's it for this. Well, that's it for this tutorial, guys. I thank you guys for joining me. I do apologize for the long hiatus between videos. I had a few projects going on. In fact, if you look at this one right here, from start to finish, we did a full video from the process of creating the song, picking the beat, writing the lyrics, all the way to the final editing and the production of the video. All done in 48 hours. It was a challenge that we had to put together, and we knocked it out, I must say. I personally liked it. I like how it came out. It was a nice little challenge. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, please. And it was a nice little challenge. I loved it. Twan loved it. He's the guy I partnered with it. And personally, I really love the challenge. It pushed my limitations to what I can pull off with a time crunch and no budget. Honestly, I think anybody who does film, you guys should probably try that too, just to see what you can pull off. But with that, I just kind of want to say thank y'all for joining me again, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.